Whilst everyone is looking forward to the 2025 Formula 1 season, the major power unit regulation changes of 2026 are also lurking. Next year, completely new F1 cars will be built by all the teams. This year, it is a bit clearer in terms of regulations, given it is almost the same as 2024. However, there are a number of important rule changes for this season that will have an impact on the sport. In this brand new video from Racing News 365, we take you through the 6 most important changes that you should keep a close eye on. In recent years, F1 has had a bit of a weight problem. The cars have been getting heavier and heavier, a topic which has been at the centre of several complaints. For now, losing weight is not on the F1 agenda, as the car's minimum weight has been adjusted from 798 to 800 kilograms for 2025. This is partly due to stricter safety requirements and the larger hybrid engines. The minimum weight of the cars has been increased because the minimum weight limit for the drivers has risen from 80 to 82 kilograms. This means the heavier drivers are less at a disadvantage and the teams have to add less ballast for light drivers. If a driver with suit and helmet weighs less than 80 kilograms, he will get extra weight in the car to still reach that mandatory 82 kilograms this year. After 6 years, a rule that can earn you a nice extra World Championship point is also coming to an end. The point for the fastest lap during a race will disappear in 2025. In 2019, we saw a reintroduction of this rule, and the idea was that it would provide extra excitement during the Grand Prix. Sometimes that was indeed the case, but in recent years, it also became a predictable result. Top drivers with a huge time advantage over the person behind could often make a free pit stop for fresh tyres and not lose a position, allowing them to then push for the fastest lap point in the closing laps. The ultimate reason for abolishing this rule? Daniel Ricciardo's farewell gift in Singapore. In Singapore last year, Ricciardo was having a difficult race and pitted for fresh tyres at the end before taking the fastest lap point from Lando Norris. It was argued that Ricciardo claimed the fastest lap to help Red Bull and Max Verstappen, despite not racing for Red Bull. This got teams thinking, and eventually it was decided to scrap the fastest lap point rule. In 2025, we will also see new rules to better combat extreme heat. The reason behind this is due to the 2023 Qatar Grand Prix, where several drivers almost fainted and had symptoms of heat exhaustion. That's why the FIA has tinkered and come up with a cooling vest. The vest is powered by a battery and pumps fluid around the driver's body. It will not be mandatory in 2025, but it will be in 2026. If the outside temperature rises above 30.5 degrees Celsius, drivers will have to wear the vest in 2026. This year, it is still optional. Drivers can choose not to put on the vest, in which case 500 grams of extra ballast will be added to the car to keep it as fair as possible for everyone. There was also speculation about some kind of air conditioning system in the cars at higher temperatures, but in the latest FIA regulations, that idea has been shot down. But at the FIA, of course, you never know for sure. McLaren may also say goodbye to their Mini DRS that they invented in 2023. Effectively, it's a flexible rear wing that flexed at high speeds and thus reduced air resistance. That system even helped Oscar Piastri win in Azerbaijan last year, but the FIA has now completely banned it. The slot width in the rear wing is set even more tightly in the regulations and may now only be between 9.4 and 13 millimeters wide. Before that, it was between 10 and 15 millimeters. In addition, the DRS must always be in a fixed or closed position. In other words, it is not allowed to be flexible. This rule ensures that there is no longer a grey area and that there is no room for a smart interpretation of the rule. These stricter rear wing tests will be in place from the beginning of the season. Sticking on the topic of wings, there will also be strict tests for the flexibility of front wings. because not only the rear wing was under a magnifying glass last year, but also the front. From the Spanish Grand Prix onwards, the tests on front wing flexibility will be tightened by 33%. In concrete terms, this means that the maximum vertical movement of the sash is reduced from 15mm to 10mm. Ferrari and Red Bull complained last year that McLaren and Mercedes were playing with flexible front wings, after which the FIA analysed additional video footage. Although no violations were found, teams are now prevented from experimenting with extremely elastic aero solutions. Another change, the rules surrounding a cancelled qualification are written down a lot more tightly. Last year's Sao Paulo Grand Prix was chaos, to say the least, with heavy rain causing qualifying to be cancelled altogether. This has now led to a new rule. Until now, the FIA had determined the starting grid based on the last session, but that became a bit complicated during a sprint weekend. From 2025, that rule will be crystal clear. If qualifying cannot take place for whatever reason, the grid will be determined on the basis of the Drivers' Championship standings. In addition, the final starting grid will now only be published 1 hour before the race, instead of 2 hours before the start. Cars that withdraw up to 75 minutes before the race will be removed from the grid, so that other cars can move up a position. This way, there are no longer gaps on the starting grid. And what is the conclusion of all of this? Although the big revolution will not come until 2026, there will be plenty of changes in 2025 to take into account. What do you think of the changes? Are they all needed? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to smash the like button and subscribe to the Racing News 365 channel. See you later.